Hey Science 1P50 students, Ian Gordon here from the Brock Library to give you a short tutorial and a seminar on how to help you to complete the assignments in this particular course. It's a really neat course and really neat assignments as well. I'm a teaching and learning librarian, been here for many years, can help you not only in this course but other courses, whether they be math or science or applied health sciences. I'm here to help you. Hopefully this will help you as well. Here's my picture. Here's in the course outline, your assignment. The term paper allows you to, or challenges you to find a scholarly peer-reviewed article that meets the requirements for this particular course. Read this really carefully. And finding this particular scholarly peer-reviewed article helps you to move forward to the next assignment later in the term is writing a paper about this as well. So they're all connected. We want you to start on the right foot. And though Dr. Stars and the TAs and your colleagues are great assistants, hopefully us in the library can help you as well. Look at the course description outlines, because picking a scholarly paper not only involves certain parameters or limiters or filters, has to be related to the course, science and the environment. There's so many issues to talk about. We'll talk about them, but read this carefully. Then read the lecture schedule for courses that you are taking and you will taste within this course. Dr. Stars is amazingly, and you'll talk about many things, but they all relate to science and society. In my example that I've picked, I'm kind of looking at air pollution as it deals with not elite athletes and technology, but it deals with a particular type of wildlife. I'll show you as I go around how I've picked this particular topic, but again, your paper has to relate to the course and the lectures and the outcomes of this particular course. So here's my criteria that I use. The paper has to be related to course objectives and the lectures, as we've looked at. Not an article in the course readings, so it can't be one you've already looked at. It has to be a scholarly peer-reviewed journal article. And I'll point you to resources that help improve your chances of finding one as well. It can't be a sociology or psychology or like a medicine paper that talks about health policy or something like that. It has to be science, it has to include data, and talk from an environmental perspective. It can't be too long, it can't be too short. We'll talk about that in a minute. It has to be published in 2023, which is kind of a strange thing to ask, because if you're writing a paper on a topic, you'd pick things in the last 10, 20 years. But for this assignment, it has to be published in 2023. It has to be understandable, because you have to read it and then look at it and summarize it. Available for downloading, meaning you need to grab a PDF of this and download it to your laptop or your phone. It has to be handed in the first week of October 2023, so start now. Don't wait till the last minute. Meet this deadline. It's a relatively simple exercise, but meet this deadline of meeting it and handing it in on time. The last thing is, it has to be suitable for the term paper portion of this assignment as well. So you're picking not only for this criteria, but also for the follow-up term paper. Here's what I picked. Habitat degradation, climate change, and environmental pollution affecting Canadian wildlife, including polar bears. So that's my research question or topic. This is what I'm interested in. And I searched through Google Scholar, searched the internet looking for issues, and this was of personal interest to me and hopefully meets the requirements for this particular course. If it doesn't, ask your professor, ask your TA, ask your colleagues, or ask and seek assistance from the library to see if this meets the criteria for the course. So if I pick this particular topic, how do I find an article? Well, there's many places to look. I build a search strategy that you should, for every time you do an assignment or look for papers for this or any other course, I pull the research question or concepts and do individual concepts. So I'm looking for polar bears or the genus species name for that, because we are doing science. Whenever I looked at the articles, they always were taking blood or looking at contaminants or metals. Habitat was a big issue with polar bears, and pollution or lead or ecotoxicity or exposure. The asterisk at the end of the article allows for variant spelling, and I'll show you how that works. The third concept, so I divide these into concepts, was it has to be about environmental or science or sustainability or climate. It helps me pull it and aligns it to the course objectives here. The fourth concept, remember we saw 2023, has to be scholarly article, should be ideally 6 to 10 pages in length. If it's less than 6, it probably doesn't have all the elements you need to analyze the particular article. And if it's more than 10, 12, something like that, You don't want to read 24 pages, and neither does your TA, so kind of use a shorter, but it has to meet the requirements for this course. It has to be scientific, has to have data, has to have a methodology. We'll talk about this. Should be understandable, like we've talked about, and maybe it's potentially interesting to you as well. Whenever I seek words or different variations of synonyms, I always go to Word Hippo. Maybe you can as well. Put in the term like here, pollution, and look up other words I could use, because the English language isn't perfect, and there's synonyms for different terms when you begin searching. We'll look at the database and show you this as well. So what databases do I use to find this article that I'm looking for? You only have to find one article. Usually you'll find 10, you'll read 4, you'll look at 3, and you'll choose 1 or 2, and you'll lean towards this one article. But again, make sure it meets the criteria for the article. To find the database that we use in here, when you're doing research at Brock University, we point you to the Brock Library homepage. On the main page, if you click under search, it allows you searches, and it lists over 480 databases you can pick. Lots of databases. When you click on the advanced search and use Omni, you can certainly use Omni for this particular assignment, but we suggest not to, because it's not as robust or doesn't cover the content that other databases do. But in the bottom right hand corner, click on research guides to find the science research guide for not only this course, but this program as well. It's alphabetically listed, or it's listed by concept. Science is there, so when you click on it, it brings you up to this homepage. And on the left-hand side, it says Welcome, and you can see where I've put the Science 1P50 slides and video here, that anyone can use it at any particular time. If you want to go back and look at it, you want to download it, review it again as a guide when you're doing your research, that's okay as well. On the left-hand side, it says articles, books, great literature, borrowing from other libraries, additional course guides, lots of other things you can look about for this particular program. On the bottom left, it says where you can get help by emailing libhelp. The chat is closed here, but when it's open, click on the chat. You can talk to someone live through most of the day and night, and even on weekends when it's open. I'm doing this in early September so that these things aren't open right now. And research support page, we'll talk more about that as well. So I'm going to click on the articles tab, and it lists a number of resources. On the top right hand side, it says a quality control process called peer review. Before they are published is listed there. Click on it and watch the video on peer review so you understand from a scientific perspective why you're choosing scholarly peer-reviewed articles and how to know whether they are or not. On the bottom left is help. You can get that at any time. But there's 4 databases listed here. Web of Science Core Collection, Google Scholar, which is a great source. It's a pretty blunt instrument. Academic Search Complete, and we talked about Omni. But I'm suggesting for this assignment, search Web of Science Core Collections, which is a database available to Brock University students through the proxy access, so make sure you're in the IP domain here on campus, or you move through and put in your letters, numbers, and your username to get through to it, because when you use it, it identifies core, scientifically scholarly articles. When you bring up the search engine, it gives you a blank screen. I filled it in with my search strategy, and it says, what do you want to look for? So you've identified your research topic or question, you've identified your concepts, and you've looked for synonyms or other words that may be appropriate because you found articles, you looked at web pages, you know more about this topic. So I put in polar bear or Ursus maritimus, and if you can look at this on the right hand side, if you use an asterisk, it's shift 8, blood, it picks up any word with that root. So it saves you typing bloods, blooding, or hyphenated words. Or you can use quotation marks like in Google Scholar. Ursus maritimus with quotation marks at either end picks up that word as a phrase, meaning each word is beside each word. Or you can combine the two. You can look at polar bear, or bears, or bearing, looking at truncation, synonyms, and you can look up phrases as well. Notice I put in polar bear or Ursus maritimus, and I found 100,000 articles. I said, that's too many. So I put in another topic, and on the left-hand side it said and. So I want to and these concepts, to combine concepts. I put in all my variant words and used the shift 8 for truncation or phrasing. And I separated each word or phrase by the word or. So anding and or is really important. And concepts or synonyms. So blood or contaminations or metals or habitat or pollution or polluting or lead, because lead was a key contaminant for polar bears. You can think of a number of words, don't be ridiculous, but think of different words that would work. To find all the articles that talk about polar bears, either as a popular name or by the genus species, and it had one or at least a number of these other key concepts. I got tens of thousands of articles. So So I said, I need to limit these even further. So I went down and I added another concept. I put the word environment or environmental or science or scientific or science or system or any words. So all the articles that I picked had to have at least one or a number of these key synonyms. I looked at them again and I went up to the top and I said, let's look at polar bear or Eurasus maritimus as a words in the title of the article, as opposed to the abstract, as opposed to keywords or subjects. This database, like most, doesn't search as the full text of the article, but it searches key components. And so I kind of looked at the title, and the next one I said topic, which is title and abstract. And then the last one was all fields, meaning any words that describe this article as well. When I was ready and I tried it, I pushed, pulled, tested, tried, I clicked on search for the final time, I got 431 articles. Since I'm looking at this database and it includes scholarly peer-reviewed articles, these should all work, but I need to find one. So I suggest you use the filters on the left-hand side, so you can put another word in, like refined results, or you could use any one of the filters. But you can sort these articles by relevance, by date, new to old, or impact, which are the most important to least important. But as you can see, I've gone a long way, but from 431, I used these filters, and the filters I used were language equals English, document type is an article, I don't want a review, I don't want a book review, I don't want an editorial, I don't want news. I said date equals 2023, which is kind of limiting, but that's what you need for this assignment. Scholarly peer reviewed, well, I know in this database, all the articles, 99% of them are scholarly peer reviewed, so there isn't a filter for that. But I could add another keyword, or you can go back and start all over again and add different terms and phrases. But when I do that, I went from 431 down to 10. And you can say 10's too many or too few, but serendipity is still a research methodology, such that you read the titles and the abstracts of the articles, see if they meet the criteria, if you're filling that bucket you need, or meeting what you're looking for. And you can sort these records from newest to oldest, to most to least relevant, or you can go through them as you read them. There's the titles, the abstracts. That gives you enough information, how many citations are at the end of the article, to give you an idea whether this article may or not be relevant. Again, you'll be overwhelmed, but using the appropriate filters and the database guides, you can limit your results down to browse through maybe 10 or 20 or 30 articles, picking maybe 5 that look interesting, then suggesting that these 3 or this one is really what I'm looking for. So I browsed through them and I found this article. It was really good. It gives you the title, gives you the authors, where it's published, and a bit of the abstract, and gives you links to find it. I think this looks interesting, looks understandable, English, everything meets the criteria for the course and the outline. And so when I click on that title, it gives you more information. It tells you the authors, the journal it's in, the DOI, or the number that describes this specific article, date, abstract, and you kind of go, okay, I think this may work. And so I can click on the full text links from the publisher or from Brock. Never pay for an article. They're always free. So if that's a problem, come and contact us. And I find the article here through its website. This is looking good. I understand the title, the abstract makes sense. I understand what the research summary should look like. I know what the research question they were asking. And if you look on the left-hand side, it tells you methods and materials. You really should find an article that has a methods or materials sections. So it tells you what did they do to get the research. It has discussions, conclusions, references. References are important at the end of the article, knowing that this article is new, adds to the body of science, and adds to these articles that they've cited throughout the article as well. So this is looking good. So I'll click on the PDF. And it brings up the PDF here, and then you can look at how many pages it is. Because most of these articles now are born digitally, so sometimes it tells you it's 10 or 20 pages. Sometimes you don't know until you actually look at it as well. So when you look at this first page, it gives you the title, the institutional authors, their affiliations, there's the abstract and keywords. On the bottom, it tells you the DOI, again, that digit number that starts with a 10 you can grab, but it also tells you, it's a fine print, it says this article was received in November 2022, it was revised later in January 2023, but it was published later that year in 2023, so it meets the date criteria for this particular assignment. And it also tells you it went through the peer review process, meaning it was accepted, it was revised, and it was accepted by peers that this added to the body of knowledge and was an important science to publish in this particular journal. So it meets the criteria not only for this exercise, but part 2 of the paper, meaning I can answer these questions. Who are the researchers? What are their work? What are they trying to answer? Write a summary. You have to look at the whole article. And do you believe this article? That's the interesting part of this assignment as well. So I think it's good. I go to Zotero Bib if you haven't. There's the URL, and cut and paste the DOI. It always usually starts with 10 dot. And I clicked on the bottom of this service, which is free and open. You can use it. It's a big bookmark I use all the time on my page. I pick APA, but there's 10,000 styles to pick from, and it creates the style there. I think it's pretty good. So you can cut and paste this and put this into an email as part of your assignments, or when you hand it in as well. You can also use Zotero, which is a citation management system. There's the URL. You subscribe to it or register. You download the software and build a folio Science 1P50 assignment on the left. And you add this. You could add 10 papers here. When you add it by putting the DOI, it actually includes all the information on the left-hand side, including the URL that you can use to always get it. Most people download the PDF of everything, but you really only now need to download the PDFs of things that you're going to use. And then Zotero, like Zotero Bib, when you click on the file and you say create a bibliography in APA style, it does this, and it did that perfectly for me yet again. Investing in Zotero Bib, learning how Zotero works, and it's on your workstation, is so important. Let us show you how that works. So here we are. Did you meet the criteria for the course? The filters, the requirements? Make sure you do this. Reach out to Dr. Stars, who's amazing, the TAs that work with this course, your colleagues, and us in the Brock Library if you need help with doing this, if you're learning style, or you haven't used databases from a scholarly perspective in our library before, and you like to do it hands-on, we can help you with that and show you how to do that as well. Page as well in that library guide, you can click on research support, and one item that they use is here it is on the bottom left-hand side of the science library guide. You can book an appointment. So what it does is it says book a 30-minute appointment. You can pick me or any other librarian. You click on the date, and it meshes my availability with an appointment schedule. So on September 21st, if at 2 o'clock you want to meet with me, you click on it. It asks you, why do you want to meet with me? And you say, looking to learn how to use Zotero. Can you help me refine my search strategy using Web of Science core collection? Using Google Scholar, and haven't quite, if you want to learn, if you want to do this together by teams or by in person, we can figure that out as well. But this is a way that we can help you, not only for this course, but as you move through any other science or applied health sciences course here at Brock University. Remember, searching is a nonlinear, potentially iterative process. It's not easy. It's not like your reading list for this course where they give you the courses, the URLs, and the proxy server address. You have a question, a research question. You develop your concepts like we did. You develop a variety of terms. You learn to use phrasing and truncation. You use your anding and ors. You do your search and you go, you browse, you test, try, push, and pull, and you revise your question, and you do another question. You transliterate research using the appropriate database. And this is part of the scientific method as well, so that you know that you're in control and that you're driving the bus and you find the articles for the criteria for this particular assignment, but for any assignment that you're doing here at Brock University. Pick the right database, you develop the right concepts, you translate that and enter it into the appropriate database or databases, and you find the results, you download them, put them into Zotero Bib or Zotero, so you have a strategy to be productive and systematic as you move forward. But science is messy. It's a team sport. It involves tripping across things you didn't trip before, and that's what we mean by it's non-linear and iterative. You're driving the bus, and you can make this help, and we can help you to do that. Finally, this is all done digitally. You don't have to look at books or textbooks or read a guide. You can do this at home. Set aside a day to do this, and if it works well, great. If it takes you longer, you need help, reach out for help. But make sure you hand in these parts of this particular assignment at the appropriate date and time. So where can I get help? Well, the Science Research Guide. You can always email the library at 3 in the morning. Someone will get back to you the next day. The chat service, it's a chat bot that has this symbol. You can click on this when it's open, usually during the day, the evening, and even on weekends when you go, how do I, or I can't find this, or this isn't working, someone will actually chat with you right there, and that's really an amazing service. Even I use that all the time. And book a consultation. If that meets what you'd like to do, we're happy to help you there as well. So Ian Gordon, Teaching and Learning Librarian, there's my email address. And there I am standing in Philadelphia, on the top of the rocky steps. I run back and forth many times, looking over downtown Philadelphia. Best of luck with this particular assignment. Dr. Stars, who's amazing, and the TAs who have done this for many years as well. Good luck and all the best.